Alright, for this trick, I'm going to be using the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4 aces. So we have the 4 aces, and we'll get back to them in just a second. But first off, I'm going to start by just shuffling the cards like this, and maybe giving them a few cuts just like so. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab 12 random cards. So we'll grab 3, 6, 9, 12 random cards just like that. And we can go ahead and we can put the rest of the deck back into the box because we do not need it any longer. So, what we're going to do with these 12 cards is very simple. But first, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take the 4 aces. And do you actually know what the leader ace is? Now, most people know this. Some people don't know. If you don't know, it is actually the ace of spades. The ace of spades is actually the leader ace out of all 4 aces. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ace of spades as well as all 3 other aces. I'm going to spread them out here on the table just like so. What I'm now going to do, I'm going to take the 12 random cards we had. I'm going to put 3 random cards on top of each ace. You can see we have 3 random cards going on top of each ace. They really are 3 random cards on top of each ace. So, from here, what I would ask my spectator to do is to place their hand over the top of the ace of spades, since it's the leader ace. But since I don't have a spectator here, I'll just put the box over top of it. So, from here, we will begin, and I'll tell them, watch. We'll start with the ace of hearts. For what we're going to do here. What I'm actually going to do, I'm actually going to spread these 3 cards. I'm going to place the ace of hearts right in the middle of these 3 cards, and I'll even show you the aces right there, just like this, until the very last moment when we do the secret move. It looks like this, and you'll see that actually now that ace is completely vanished from our pack. Watch again with the ace of clubs. What we'll do is we'll take the ace of clubs, and watch. I want to show you we have 1 card here, 1 card here, and 1 card here. But this final face down card, it's the ace, right? But we do the secret move. And once again, there is no longer an ace there. Watch one last time with the ace of diamonds. We'll take the ace of diamonds, we'll set it right here, and I'll take it, and I want to place it in the middle of the remaining cards, just like so. And I'll leave it show you to the very last second. The aces are right there. I'll leave it push it in a little bit. But watch, once again, if we actually do the secret move, now we have no more aces anywhere. But watch. You had your hand over top of the leader ace, the ace of spades, right? Watch very closely. Because the leader ace is the ace of spades, if we actually take 3 cards on top of it and we do the secret move, you'll see we actually now have 1, 2, 3 aces. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josiah, and in this video, I'm going to be teaching you a really cool card trick. In fact, the card trick you just saw in the performance, and I'll talk about that in a second. But first, last week I did not end up uploading a video. I had one filmed, edited, exported, ready to go, and I didn't end up uploading it. I ended up getting home in time to upload it from where I was staying. We stayed over at a relative's house for the weekend. So I wasn't able to get a video last weekend, but I went ahead and uploaded that video this weekend, and the link will be up on screen and in the description to where you can access this video. It's an unlisted video, and it's a really cool video because it teaches 2 card control techniques that are really cool, very similar. The first one is called The Convincing Control by Ed Marlowe, and it's just a really cool control where basically you spread the cards, you have them touch a card, you show them the card, you bring your hands down, you leave the card sticking out to the very last second, then you push the card in, and the card's already controlled to the bottom. It's really cool. And the second card control is the DMB spread control, which is a variation of that created by Dan and Dave Buck. and I think the DMB spread control is in many ways superior to the convincing control. But I teach both of those in that video, so if you'd like to see that, click the link in the description, and I'll be teaching a trick soon that may use them. Just putting it out there. I may use them, but without further ado, let's get into this video. And I know I had to get through that first part there really quick. I wanted to get through it really quick, that way I could get into the video. So first off, I do have a bit of a cold right now, so if I sound weird and stuffy, I'd have to clear my throat sometimes. It's just that I have a bit of a cold right now. It'll be fine though. This is just the time of the year for me to typically get a cold. So in this video, we're going to be learning a trick that I'm sure many magicians will recognize. This is the what some magicians refer to as the ace assembly plot. Basically, this is a really popular trick in magic where you take the 4 aces, you lay them out on the table, you put 3 random cards on top of each ace, you set the ace of spades aside, and you have the spectator cover the ace of spades with their hand, or you could do whatever with the ace of spades. But basically, the idea is that all 3 aces, aside from the ace of spades, go into their packet of 3 cards, they vanish from that packet, and then they reappear over beside the ace of spades. And there are a whole bunch of different variations of this. This trick, when I learned it from the 52 Cards YouTube channel, very similarly to the performance you just saw, and I learned it as the trick Dream of Aces, and I prefer that name, Dream of Aces, to describe this. A more popular name for this trick would be McDonald's Aces. I also know this trick as, if you've seen it on the Million Cards YouTube channel, A Million Cards YouTube channel, he uploaded a video teaching it, and he called it Aces Assemble. So it was pretty cool. And there are a whole bunch of different names and ideas and variations for this trick. I mean, some of the best magicians out there have their own variations of it, including, if you've heard of David Blaine, Matt Franco, they both have their own variations of this. There are a whole bunch of different magicians that all have their different little touches and tweaks to this trick. There are some magicians who have impromptu variations of this, some that use gimmicks. Some magicians have spent years working on this particular effect, trying to find the perfect one. It's just one of those effects that's really popular, really well known. I'm going to be sharing with you my personal variation of that trick. So I hope you really enjoy it. Without further ado, let's just get into the video. Alright, for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the purple Knock playing cards. These are probably my favorite color so far of the Knock playing cards. Maybe black I like better, possibly. Just again, it's one of those, I've mentioned this before on the channel, this dark purplish color. It's just a color that I really like on a deck of playing cards. I'm not entirely sure why. It's just a weird perk of mine. So, that's the deck I'm using in this video. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. But let me show you how this is done. So, for this trick, you're going to need a couple of things. First off, you are going to need a deck of cards. So you're just going to need a deck of cards. You're going to need, not a card box. You can use a card box if you want. You don't have to have a card box, though. It would be helpful to have one. You're also going to need the 4 aces from your deck of cards, and you're going to need this. This is the important thing I want to focus on here in the beginning. I know this looks like a regular deck of cards, but this is actually a gimmicked deck. Not necessarily a gimmicked deck, but every single card in it has been gimmicked in a special way. This is called a double facer deck. That is to say, the cards look normal when you spread them, but in fact, all of the cards have faces on both sides. So if I spread them here, you can see we have faces printed on both sides. I can spread them here and you can see all the cards. They have, there's been specially printed. Now, you can make a double face card by taking 2 cards and taping them or gluing them together. However, I prefer and say that that's good for practice, but if you're actually going to perform a trick like this, it's best that you use actual special custom-made double facers, or specially made double facers. So you can make, now if you want to make your own double facers, have them specially made, what you can do is if you know how to split cards, you can actually split a card and you can make a double backer. You can actually, I should say, you need to split 2 cards from the same deck. You can create a double backer and a double facer. That is to say, you take the 2 layers that have a face, you can glue those together. 2 layers that have a back and glue those together. That'll work to create a double backer or a double facer. But I think it's easier just to buy one of these decks because they're not super expensive. I think you could get them for like $10 on Amazon. This deck will last you countless performances, and there's so many double facers in here. In fact, because of the way this deck is set up, you actually have, I think, like a duplicate of every, or at least most double facers have a duplicate in them. Like, these aren't the only double facer aces in the deck. There are other double facer aces in the deck. Like you can see here, we have more double facer aces. So what you're going to do, once you have your double facer deck, you're going to get 3 double facers. And the 3 double facers you're going to want is you're going to want an ace of hearts, an ace of clubs, and an ace of diamonds double facer. Okay? It doesn't matter what card is on the back, it just has to be a random and different card. So in this case, we have the 4 of spades, the 7 of spades, and the 7 of hearts. You'll be the same cards if you get this same double facer deck that I use. And one note about the double facer deck, when you order it, it's off of Amazon. When you look at it on Amazon, it's going to look, it's going to say, it's going to be titled Standard Face. It's going to look like a regular deck of cards. Trust me, it is actually a double facer deck. And it's the same double facer deck that I have used for myself. So, these are the only double facers you need to perform this effect. Now, keep in mind, you can use any 4 of a kind you want. Just choose a leader 4 of a kind. Maybe it's the hearts, maybe it's the spades, anything like that. Now, one thing to note is that there are double facers that come with certain decks. For instance, I'll leave a link to this in the description as well. The Mint deck of playing cards comes with you can buy a Mint Gaff pack that comes with a bunch of Gaff cards that you can use with the Mint deck of playing cards, and one of them that comes is there. Sorry, apparently I can't speak right now. One of the gimmicks that comes in there, at least 3 of them, are these double facers for this ace trick. Now, one thing you might note is that these aces, these are bicycle aces. These are bicycle face aces. These aces were meant to be used with a bicycle deck of playing cards. So you can use these with a bicycle deck of playing cards like I normally would. Or, you'll notice I'm using the knock deck of playing cards. Because we're not using a double facer ace of spades, I just use this deck's ace of spades. And because this deck, just uses bicycle faces, pretty much otherwise, you have, we can just use the bicycle double facers, which is really nice. Because you can see here, those 2 faces, the faces for each of our double facers, if I turn this one around, you'll see it looks exactly the same. These are the regulars, these are the double facers. So, now that we've kind of talked about double facers a little bit, let's talk about the preparation for this effect. What you're going to do in preparation for this effect. There are a few things you need to do. First off, you're going to look at the other side and look at the random cards that are on the double face aces. You're going to take those 3 cards and you're going to want to remove them from the deck of cards before you begin the trick. The reason why is simply because you don't want any discrepancies of like duplicates or whatever during the effect. I have had that happen before. It didn't really matter, but just to be safe, just remove those cards. Then what you're going to do is you're going to turn the deck face up, and you're going to take your double facer aces. You're going to set them up in this order. You're going to set them up red, black, red. It doesn't matter which red card is on top and bottom. It just matters that you go red, black, red like that in alternating sequence. Then you're going to turn the packet over and you're going to set it right here on the bottom of the deck. So it looks like you just have 3 random cards on the bottom of the deck. In fact, these are your double facer aces. But this makes it really deceptive when you spread and you can see all of the cards, which is just really cool. So if you're doing this in a live performance setting, I recommend you actually lose the aces into the deck, and I'm going to do that for you. In the performance, I just had the aces on top to start out with, just to make it quicker since it was on camera. But in a real life setting, I would actually mix these aces somewhere into the deck, like this, and I would just do this for a performance. So that's what I would actually do in a real live performance scenario. So once you've done that, let's get into how to start. Okay, so once you've gotten all that preparation set up, you're going to begin the trick by asking the spectator, what would you say are the 4 most powerful cards in a deck, maybe in like a card game or whatever. And as you do this, you're just going to spread them on the table. And if you don't know how to spread cards on the table like this, I'll leave a link to a really great tutorial for how to do that in the description box down below. But from here, most of the time they'll say aces. If not, you say, actually, the aces are pretty cool, so we'll take out the aces. Now, you can use any pattern you'd like, keep that in mind, and you can use any 4 of a kind you'd like. Again, you can use the queens, the jacks, the kings, but I'm going to use aces for this particular tutorial. But you just take the aces out like this, you go through the deck, you find all 4 of the aces, and keep in mind, these are the 4 regular aces. Now, then you'll take them out. Now, this part was Million Card Tricks came up with for his aces assemble trick. And that's what I really like this, because originally, the way I originally learned this was that you would start with the double facer aces, so you couldn't ever let the spectator examine anything. With this, I love this because you're starting with the regular aces. So you can allow your spectator to examine the cards and they can see their regular aces, which just makes this effect so much better because it's kind of they know they are regular aces. They know they can't be gimmicked aces or anything because they examine them at the beginning. And it's just crazy how well that works and plays in people's minds that I examine these at the beginning. These must be the regular aces. These are regular aces. I can't find anything tricky about them. So it's kind of crazy that you're kind of, it's kind of a gutsy thing then to go against what just happened in their mind and you're actually using gimmicked aces. So you have them examine them. Don't say make sure they're gimmicked or anything. I say just take a look at them, examine them, and make sure they're regular or anything like that. So then you're going to get 12 random cards from the bottom of the deck. Now, if you want to, what I did in the performance was I actually shuffled the deck before we did anything. And the way I did that was I did a false overhand shuffle. It was a bottom retention overhand shuffle retaining these cards. And all I did was I used my fingers at the back to do a bottom retention overhand shuffle. But rather than holding just one card back, I brought my fingers up here and I held back a whole chunk of cards. You don't have to do that. You could also just do like a riffle shuffle, just making sure not to flush those aces, obviously. You just kind of shuffle here. But anyway, whatever the case is, you just turn the deck face up and you're going to grab your 12 random cards. When you do this, you're going to thumb them off in groups of 3. So you start with 3 from the bottom, so you can see there's 3. These are obviously your gimmicked aces, or your double facers. You say 6, 9, 12. Now I have 12 random cards. The other cards, I like to put them in the card box just to keep them kind of isolated out of sight because I really want the focus and the attention to be on these 16 cards on the table. The 12 random cards, notice the air quotes around random, and the 4 regular aces. So you're going to square up the cards in your hand, and what you now are going to need to do, you'll spread these in your hands a little bit just to show the regular. And this is really cool because this whole thing designed by A Million Card Tricks, it's a fantastic, this whole beginning setup, this was all designed by him for his Dream of Aces routine. And I love it so much. I can't stress how much I love this because they examine the aces. You see all the faces of the cards. There are no other aces in there. It's just so clean. It's the cleanest beginning intro to the Dream of Aces trick that I've ever seen. So you're just gonna, what you want to do is you want to get a break beneath or not beneath, but above the 3 double facers at the bottom. So you can do this by, let me stand up here so you can see this better. You can just riffle up the back, and I'll see if I can show you this here. You're just going to riffle up the back, 1, 2, 3, and get your break like that, your pinky break. You could also do like a pinky pull down thing where you pull down 3 cards like that. For me personally, I just prefer to kind of spread the cards just casually. And as I square up, what I'm doing is I'm just sticking my pinky finger in here to get a break right above those 3 cards as I square up. From here, you're going to do a half pass, which we've taught the half pass on the channel before. I'll leave a link up in the cards and in the description box down below to the half pass. But the half pass is just a move that allows you to reverse the bottom cards. And don't mind about flashing. You just have to know how to do this pretty well. So you get the aces reversed on the bottom. You could use any technique to reverse the 3 bottom cards, but I prefer to use the half pass, so I do the half pass to reverse the 3 bottom cards like that. So from here, what you need to do is you need to once again get a break beneath these bottom 3 cards. You don't want to spread now because they're going to see the aces. So you either do that pinky pull down thing that I usually do, or you can do that, or you can riffle off 1, 2, 3 cards again. So you just get your break right back, like that, or just right there, and you're ready to go for this next part. So when you take the aces back, it's important that you take them back and make sure that they're in the same order you handed them to them. So that's to say, one thing I forgot to mention, you want to make sure the aces, you can rearrange the aces as you want. You want the aces to be in red, black, red order, and then you want the ace of spades on top. This is just for subtlety reasons at the end. These three aces, really, you could put them in any order. It doesn't really matter. I prefer to keep this order just to keep consistent with when you show the aces later. But the important thing is that the ace of spades is on top. So you're going to square up these 4 aces on top. Now, this move that you're about to do, not really even a move, just something you do to achieve the effect. It's a really gutsy thing to do. You might be thinking, especially from those of you watching the course, you might think, that's not going to fly by at all. I've done it so many times, countless times. It always flies by. It's unbelievable. So, once again, you're going to get your break. And then we say, what's the leader ace? Or what's the ace that is the most powerful in a card game? And people mostly say the ace of spades, right? So you say it's actually the ace of spades. So we actually have the ace of spades. Well, you're not going to say we actually have the ace of spades. You're just going to say, yeah, it's actually the ace of spades. Now, notice what I did there. What I actually, while it looked like I'm just thumbing over that ace, what I actually did was, from behind, I'll try and get the best behind the scenes angle as I possibly can for this, is as I dragged the ace over, I'm carrying with my break, using my break, I'm carrying these other 3 aces along with it. And it looks to the spectator like one card. Now, when you drag those aces over, you're just going to leave your break. You don't need your break anymore. Because these are the 4 aces that are going to be in play for the rest of the trick. So you're going to lose your break, and you say, and we also have the other 3 aces. Now, when you do this, this is where things get a bit complicated, because you need to get a break beneath the 3 aces that you're thumbing off. So the way you do this is you just stick your pinky finger in there as you grab the ace, the first ace, then the second ace, and the third ace. So you don't have to do this super quick or super fast. Just do this very casually. You got the ace here, then you say, and we also will take the 3 other aces as well. And that's it. That's the move. I know it was kind of weird because you saw the ace change, but it's so amazing how well this flies by. So once you're here, you're going to position the cards like this. So you have so once again, sorry, I confused myself on what I was saying. You have this packet in your right hand, this packet stays in your left hand, and you're going to position it so that this packet, you don't want to go like this, but you want to just kind of position your hand casually so that this hand is kind of behind this hand. So it's just a natural action of setting this packet down. So it's going to look, or you want to improve the appearance that you're just setting the packet down. But the justification for bringing the packet over this one to do your move is to set it down, as I said. So that's why you want to position your hands here. So you're going to set the packet down here, but in order to do that, you have to pass over this packet first. So the way you do this move is you're just going to pass over this packet, and as you touch this packet, you're just going to lift up the aces, all of the cards above the break, which are just those 3 aces, and set them down here, okay? So from behind, kind of a behind-the-scenes look of what this would look like, you have your aces here, you're going to come forward, you grab the aces, and you set them down here. And at speed, from behind, or sort of a behind-the-scenes view, it's going to look something like this. You're just going to set it down, okay? And I know you want to try and not hesitate here as much as possible. Just kind of pass over the top and sit down here, okay? And don't make a big deal about it, okay? And you're talking to the spectator and using misdirection as you do this. So it obviously, it's just a natural action, okay? And no one will even notice. Trust me, no one's ever noticed. Don't draw attention to it. Just talk to them, and you begin setting down the cards as you look down. So from what you're going to do when you set stuff down, you're set down the ace of spades first on your very right. Now, keep in mind, because the camera has a weird angle from in front of me, you're not going to be able to see from my right, that's where this ace of spades is. It's on the left of the camera, but keep in mind when you're actually setting this down, it's going to be on your right. So from the camera's view, it's going to look like this. And you know what? For the sake of tutorial, I'm actually going to set it up as if you're the magician seeing it. So you're going to place the ace of spades on your right, and you set the other 3 aces right here. Of course, remember, these are your double facers. But you feel like they are your regular aces. So, from here what you're going to do, you're going to take this packet of 12 random cards, in fact it's actually 9 cards and your 3 regular aces now, and you're going to turn it over, and you're going to put 3 cards on top of each ace. You're going to start going right to left, and you're going to start with the ace of spades. So you're going to thumb off 3 cards, and keep in mind, these are going to be toward the spectator, and it's going to look like this to the spectator, but I'm setting this up as if you're the magician, and I'm the spectator. I'm just setting it up so that it's easier for you to see what it's going to look like from the magician's perspective. So you take the top 3 cards and you set them. So from here, you're going to take the top 3 cards, you're going to set them right here like this. And when you're setting up the cards in front of you, set them up like this as you're seeing it through the camera. Don't reverse it or anything, just look through the camera. Because I am setting it up as if you're the magician and I'm the spectator, this kind of point of view. So you take 3 cards. Now, one thing is that you don't want to show, because you can't show these 3 cards, obviously, because of the aces. You can't show these 3, all of the cards here, though. You don't want to do that because that's going to draw attention to this. So I'm going to show the second card, so I'm just going to flash it briefly. Then I'm going to thumb over these next 3 cards. I'm not going to show them and place them on top of the next ace. I'm going to flash the last 3 cards. That way we keep kind of consistent and we don't draw attention to the fact that this ace was the only one we didn't show, which we didn't. We left 2 that we didn't show and 2 that we did, just so that we didn't draw that attention. So, from here, once you've set all these 3 cards down on top of each ace, you're going to have the spectator cover up the ace of spades with their hand. I'm going to use the card box once again to represent their hand. And you're going to begin with the ace on your very right. So the first ace, in this case, it's the ace of hearts. So this ace is going to be a really cool phase and this phase simply uses a technique known as the Elmsley count. Now, I'm not going to take the time to explain it fully in depth, but the link will be in the description if you want to check out a really good tutorial for how to do the Elmsley count. But basically, you're going to start by putting the card in the second position, and from here you can do it just a regular count, or you can do an actual Elmsley count as well. They do the same thing in this case, and I prefer to do an actual Elmsley count just to mimic what it's going to look like later, and it just makes it a lot cleaner that way. So from here, then you're going to do their magic move. It can be a wave. I just like for you to do this little snap, and it's kind of flick of the wrist, like that. And then you're going to do an Elmsley count to show that ace has supposedly vanished. And this is your cleanup for this phase that will allow you to show all the backs of the cards, supposedly. So you're going to start by turning over the top card, setting it here. And keep in mind, remember, this is the setup that it's going to look like to you, the magician, not to the spectator. This is what it will look like to you, the magician. Obviously, the hands will be behind here, but I can't be there. But then you're going to take this next card, you're going to turn it over. Then you're going to turn over these 2 cards as one. You're going to set down this card, and you're going to spin this card around and set it here. It's kind of crazy how well that works. You might be thinking, well, it's not going to be obvious. It's not actually. It's actually really, really honestly brilliant how this works, because you turn this over, you turn this over. I performed this a couple times for people, and people have asked, what about the back of this card? They think they've already seen the back of this card. They think this is the card they want to see the back of, which is kind of crazy. And it's just crazy how well that works. So don't sweat this whole thing, okay? Just go through it, it'll work out. So with the next ace, what you're going to do is you're going to turn the packet face up. But this time you do want to risk kill, because you don't want to flash this card, because it is going to change later if you flash it. So you want to keep it risk killed. You're going to take this ace, and as you do so, you're going to just push over this top card. You're going to get a break beneath it. You're going to come here with this ace. You're going to set this ace right here on top of this card. Okay, so the ace is here on top of the Queen of Hearts in this case. And now you have a break beneath the ace and that regular card. So from here, you're going to do a double lift. Okay, and you just do a regular double lift. It can be any double lift you want, but you just turn them over. So they believe this is the ace. This is, in fact, a face down random card. Of course, this card has changed, but you're not going to flash that. And it flies by because no one notices the change because of how this is structured. So now we're going to take the bottom card. You're going to show that's the bottom card. You're going to set it down here. You're going to thumb over this card. So you could show this card. You're going to flip your wrist over to show the back of actually this card, but they believe it's this card. It's kind of crazy how that works. You're going to thumb that here. You show this. You set it here. And now you do your magic move. This face down card, of course, they believe is the ace, but actually it's the random card. So that ace, you've now made that ace vanish as well. So from here, for the final ace, what you're going to do the same thing. It's going to start off similarly. You're going to risk kill, get your break, set the ace here. You're going to do a double lift. When you do the double lift, you want to leave the cards out jogged a little bit. You don't want to put it fully flush with the packet. You want to leave it out jogged a little bit. Then you're going to take the 2 cards as one like this, and you're going to stick them in between these 2 remaining cards. You don't just want to spread them like this, because it's going to be that discrepancy of there's only 3 cards here now. Where's the 4th one? So the way I like to do that is I kind of like to peel back with my thumb, kind of riffle off the top card with my thumb, kind of just insert it here like this. And you want to insert it, leaving it a little bit out jogged. This is really a really clean last version of this, where you're going to flip over your wrist to show the aces there. You're going to flip it back over and you're going to supposedly adjust it just a tiny bit. But all you're doing from behind is you're just going to use these fingers to literally just push this ace back and use your index finger to square it up all the way. Now, if you want to, you can actually just use your index finger to do all the work. I've been practicing well enough that I can do that, but in the beginning it's going to be a lot easier to just do this. No one will ever really notice the difference. You just get it in like that. So the ace has been pushed into the deck, the double facer ace, and I have this face down card. So from here I do the snap, I spread the cards, I come here, I use these two cards here to flip over the ace, or supposedly the ace, that would reveal that it's a random card. And when I do that, obviously, from the magician's perspective, it's going to end up here. And obviously, you have your double facer here. So you have your two cards here, your double facer on top, regular card, and you have a regular card here. So from here, you're going to square these two cards up. You flip your wrists over like this. You set down your double facer here. You set down this card here after you show it, and then you show this card here and set it down. So from here, what you do once you've done these three phases, you're pretty much done. All you gotta do is just milk this moment. You say, lift up your hand, please. And you can do a magic gesture, whatever, but you just kind of show very cleanly that there are three cards here. You're gonna pick them up, you're gonna square them up. And I like to do this little through the hand movement. It's a very simple movement. All that's happening is that as I turn my hand over, I'm just using my thumb to push these cards down. It's a really kind of magical movement here. And you can see so that you kind of reveal those aces. And you can see there's one ace, there's two aces, and three aces, just like that. And so you reveal that you now have the three aces behind the leader ace, and that is it. Alright, and that is it. So I know it was kind of a lengthy tutorial today, but I hope you really enjoyed that card trick. And if you want to learn, if you maybe want to figure out your own phases that might work for you, I recommend you check out the videos in the description. And also search Dream of Aces and McDonald's Aces, make the queens vanish or make the aces vanish, anything like that on YouTube. See if you could find more Dream of Aces tricks maybe that you can check out the phases, see how they work out and stuff. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let's just go to the outro. Alright, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you really like this video, you can always check out more on my channel. I'll upload more in the future. And just a reminder, all of the links to all the products and videos and things that I mentioned in this video are in the description box down below. If you again want to check out the tutorial for the convincing control and the DMB spread control, click the link in the description, and I hope you really enjoyed that tutorial. And I've enjoyed this video. I hope you did too. Leave a comment down below if you want me to teach an impromptu handling of this 4-ace trick, and maybe like my next video. And also, one thing I mentioned in my deck collection video a little while back, I mentioned that I had my mint deck set up in new deck order because there was a very special something coming soon. And I didn't want to reveal quite yet. And I've been thinking about that. I kind of lost interest in teaching it, and I'm like, you know what? This is going to be a really good thing for me to teach, so I really am going to teach this. So maybe whether it starts next tutorial or the tutorial after, or anything like that, soon I will be teaching what I mentioned I would teach in my deck collection video. Alright, and that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.